I think financial education is so important for so many different reasons, but the first one is that money is such an important factor in our lives. We really can't get by without it. We live in a society which requires it, and if we don't have a good understanding of money, then I think we're at the mercy of so many different factors and forces that can manipulate or shape our behavior because we need money to survive. In fact, we don't just need money to survive. That's one very important aspect of it, but money actually affects every single human need that we have. It doesn't buy every single human need that we have, but it does affect every one of those human needs. And the problem is we're not really taught proper financial education at school. We don't really know how money works. Unless we seek that information out ourselves, then we kind of step into the world at a disadvantage. And that actually bothers me. It's personal to me because I feel like, as someone who grew up with a single mother, money was always scarce. There was never enough, and it was always a source of stress for us. And it was such a difficult thing for me when I was a teenager and when I was in my early 20s. It became such a driving force. I almost felt like I had to become obsessed with money to master it, to not be driven by the struggles of childhood, of like growing up and having those years where like it was a struggle just for the mortgage to be paid and the bills were too much and everything was like a source of tension. It was difficult. There was just a feeling of never having enough, and I became really focused on it from my teenage years. Like when I was 16, I started to read books about money and economics, and I just focused on it quite heavily. In fact, I would say getting into my 20s and focusing on developing my career in technology. And when I was 24, I later went to work in the city for 3 years and then went on to like start contracting at a big tech company and formed my own company in the last couple of years to do some consulting work with clients. I've got this perspective on money and I've gone through so many different phases of understanding how it works and the realities of it. And in doing a lot of inner work myself, including therapy and reading books and doing coaching and things like that, I've also done so much reflecting on my own relationship to money. And it's so interesting to me how this force runs our lives and how the quality of our life can be determined by the decisions that we make around money and the identities that we have around money and the traumas and the emotions around it, the beliefs that we have. Money really is just a tool. It's not positive and it's not negative. It's definitely not the root of all evil. But some people's attachment to money could definitely be perceived as evil. I think that's a different topic. The point is that there are so many of these stories and system so much condition, right? There's so much conditioning around money that actually if you just focus on money and your relationship to it and you look into your own values and how you want to live your life, how you want to make a living, how you want to spend most of your time, how you want to relate to other people, how you want to engage in your passions, there's so much that you can learn about yourself through the topic of money. It's not just about getting rich. It's not just about financial freedom. It's not just about going on nicer holidays and being able to feed your family and have access to do all the nice things and feel good about having enough of it and feeling like you become a master of it instead of it mastering you. All of that is great and all of that is very important, but just the knowledge that you can learn this stuff, that just knowing some foundational principles around it can help you make better decisions in your life. And become a master of money and not it be a master of you. That is so important and it's so crucial. And I think so many people just don't understand that, or they don't even want to understand it. They don't have the willingness to put their attention on money and learning how to master it more effectively, how to make it, how to just be more positive around it, how to form that attachment where actually money feels better. It feels good to interact with the money that you do already have. And then it feels possible to come up with different ways in your life to either create more of it or create it in a way that's more aligned, and spend your time in ways that you will feel better about yourself and more in aligned with your own dreams. You just spend more of your time in alignment like that, then you don't necessarily need to earn as much as you do already. I've sort of been down that path a bit myself, where it's like I've kind of earned more than I actually need, but then I've had to really evaluate what I'm doing to earn my own money and how I want the rest of my life to go and how I want my career to develop and how I see that, right? How I see myself being more independent and more entrepreneurial and building more separate streams of income, and just really think about how I want to spend my time and what actually lights me up and what excites me. And then in terms of connecting with your passions and your purpose and how you feel like you can fix problems for other people, that which is a very positive side towards money. Then there's also the very negative side towards money, which is all the blockages that have to be faced and all the things that come up when we start to walk towards our own goals and doing our own passions and making money in a more making money in a way that's more aligned with our dreams. Because the money itself should not really be the point. It's just the tool. It's not the thing. It's not the dream itself. It's just it's a necessity. It's a resource. You need it to flow. It's like you need it to actually flow in and out of your life. And I mean, I'm missing my trail of thought now, but yeah, financial, like just learning this stuff, it really matters. There are so many tactics you can do and so many ways to change how you invest right now that will make such a big difference and will set your future self up for a more comfortable time, and might not even just be your future self, it could be your family as well. And then there's also, going back to the thing I was talking about, because I lost my trail of thought and I've got it back, there's also dealing with the negative emotions around money. So dealing with all the fears that come up and the shame and embarrassment about putting yourself out there. People feel a lot of resistance around making sales calls and doing marketing and asking for more money when it comes to being in the business environment. All these things are like blockages that need to be worked on and can be worked on. And if you're aware that these are just things that nearly everyone goes through, then it becomes much easier to stay the course in whatever path you choose to go down and work on them. So that's where psychology of money becomes so fascinating to me as well, is that there are so many things that we could be doing and actions that we could take that we don't do because of fear or resistance or bad experiences that we've had in the past, which we don't necessarily need to hold on to now, but because it's actually trapped within our body, then we just don't act in the way that would best serve our future selves and would kind of align with our dream selves. Then you've got the topics of nervous system regulation and stress and being stuck in a survival state of being. Many of us are just too overwhelmed and we get into a state of burnout, or we have too much on our plate. We're too overstimulated. We don't have enough space and time in our day, and work itself just feels too stressful because there's not enough boundaries, and we're constantly inundated with messages and emails and things that we have to do and getting pressured all the time, and we don't get the time and space in our days to think, and then we get stuck in these patterns of survival, of stress, of being overly stressed, And then that takes its toll too. And I've been there myself. I've hit stages of burnout where I've had too much going on and I've not been handling it well enough. And I had to take a moment to just stop and really do less and think more about how I've been thinking about money and where my priorities have been and where I'm putting my attention, and just changing my priorities and really reflecting on my own values. And it's been through that process where I've gotten really interested in the topics of money and the psychology around it, and how you can kind of develop your own practical philosophy around it, and how that is so important and how that really matters, because so many of the beliefs and stories that we have around money itself can drive how we live our lives, and it can drive the decisions that we make, and it can change the direction that we go down. So we can have two different paths. Imagine this, you have two different paths. One is like the dream-based business that you've always wanted to do and go down, but it's full of uncertainty. You have no idea how you can actually make that happen. You just know that if you were honest, you would love to do that thing, even though you don't know how you're going to get the income from it. You don't know how you pay the bills. You've got a mortgage. It's a problem. You go down that path, you know that it's going to be really exciting. It's going to light you up. It's going to make you feel alive, and to actually spend the time connecting with people in that business, doing that thing, is going to make you feel much better and much more alive. Then you got the other path, and it's a path where I've gone down a bit myself, where you're in the high paid job, you've got security, you're good at what you do. Let's just say it's a typical industry like tech or finance. You're in that job, you've got a lot of career experience, you're good at it, you've carved out a niche or specialism for yourself maybe. You've got good salary, bonus, good perks. You've got something like golden handcuffs, but it doesn't feel great. You feel like you're just on this path where you don't particularly like how you spend your time, although half the time it's kind of comfortable, but it doesn't really light you up. You're comfortable and you're getting the money, so you don't have to worry about paying your bills or, going on a nice holiday now and then, or having enough to, do experiences that you want to do. But you're going down this path and there's something missing. There's like a real, you wouldn't particularly want to do this for the rest of your life. And you're not really connected to your dreams. You don't really feel like you're on purpose. You're not serving other people in a way that you could be. And it doesn't quite feel right. It doesn't really light you up. And there are these kind of two paths. And at one point in your life, you might decide to go down one or the other based on your consciousness and your awareness around money itself. Because the real path that will, the thing that will actually lead you to a life of least regret might be this path. It's just you don't know how it's going to work out, and you have to walk it to find out. In reality, right, those are two extremes. In reality, it's not that black and white. So you can be on this path and start doing things, leveling yourself up in your spare time to get onto this path, or you can find a crossover where you've got this you can find a crossover where you've got skills that you already have and you've got things that you like from this career path, and you can kind of leverage those into the more passion-based business. So it's not completely black or white. And if you want me to do a video on that, let me know and I can look into that further. But the point is that how we relate to money really just affects the decisions that we make and the directions that we might decide to go down. So it's really worth exploring and learning about further. And even something as simple as looking at your current workplace pension and making sure that you're getting the complete employer match and that you're saving as much as you can, which is essentially free money from your employer, into the stock market, and making sure that it's 100% invested in stocks in like a global index fund, and understanding how compound interest works, and understanding that that additional money from your employer invested into the stock market over the course of 20 or 30 years, understanding how much that money is going to double and triple and just magnify over that time period, knowing that can help you make better decisions that your future self will greatly thank you for. So I feel like I've talked enough about why financial education matters. If you enjoyed this, let me know, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.